Discover the rarest and most valuable top 10 quarter-dollar coins, each carrying remarkable history, hidden secrets, and values worth millions. Join us as we uncover treasures that could turn an ordinary collection into a life-changing fortune. The story of the 1965 quarter without a mint mark is one of the most fascinating in American coin history, a tale that combines mystery, accident, and incredible value. For many collectors, it represents not only a prized piece of metal but also a piece of history frozen in time, linked to a year of transition in U.S. coinage. In 1965, the United States Mint was making a dramatic change, shifting from 90% silver coins to clad copper-nickel coins because silver prices were rising sharply. To stop hoarding, the Mint removed mint marks from coins entirely for several years, including 1965, which is why no quarter from that year carries a mint mark. This detail adds to the intrigue, but it was only the beginning of what made certain quarters extraordinary. During this transition, a rare mistake occurred. A few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964, instead of the new copper-nickel clad planchets. These rare errors resulted in coins that looked slightly different, felt different, and most importantly, held far more value than the ordinary clad quarters of the same date. Collectors eventually discovered that these silver planchet 1965 quarters were out there, but in extremely small numbers. While billions of clad quarters were minted and spent in everyday circulation, the accidental silver quarters were almost like ghosts, surfacing only in rare instances and usually being spotted by sharp-eyed collectors who noticed a weight difference. The weight of these coins is a key identifier. Normal clad quarters from 1965 weigh about 5.67 grams, but the rare silver planchet strikes weigh around 6.25 grams, just like quarters from 1964. This subtle difference made them recognizable to professionals and advanced collectors who understood the significance. Beyond the metal content and weight, the edges told another story. Ordinary clad quarters show visible copper layers when viewed from the side, but the 1965 silver quarters did not. Instead, they had a solid silver edge, which revealed the true nature of the error and added to their incredible allure. For years, these coins remained largely unknown to the wider public, hidden in collections or passed unnoticed in pocket change. But as coin auctions began to highlight their rarity, the legend of the 1965 silver quarter grew. It became a symbol of how tiny mistakes at the mint could lead to life-changing discoveries for the lucky few who found them. The historical importance of this coin goes beyond its silver content. It represents the tension of a moment when the mint was under pressure, rushing to meet public demand while eliminating silver from circulation. The 1965 quarter captures the chaos of that era, reminding us how transition often leaves behind rare treasures. Over time, stories circulated of collectors stumbling across these coins in old rolls, in forgotten jars of change, or in inherited collections. Each discovery fueled excitement, reinforcing the idea that even today, such a coin might still be out there, waiting for someone to recognize its true worth. One example of a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet shocked the numismatic world when it reached an astonishing auction price of $3.28 million, cementing its reputation as one of the most valuable quarters ever sold. This remarkable figure demonstrated how rarity, history, and condition can converge to create almost unimaginable worth in the world of coins. For collectors, the dream of finding such a coin remains alive. The chance that a simple quarter could hold the value of a mansion or a lifetime of savings makes the search worthwhile. Every 1965 quarter becomes an object of inspection, weighed, measured, and studied for even the slightest chance of being one of the legendary silver errors. Next is the year 1985, holds a special place in American coinage, not because of a commemorative release or major redesign, but due to a rare and little-known quarter minted in Philadelphia. The 1985 quarter with the P mint mark became a fascination among numismatists because of its unusual survival pattern and the circumstances surrounding its limited numbers. While millions of quarters were produced overall that year, the distinctive characteristics of certain Philadelphia strikes set them apart and made them legends in the coin world. When examining the 1985 P quarter, one must first understand the historical context. The U.S. Mint was producing coins under tremendous demand, yet quality control at Philadelphia was inconsistent. Most coins bore marks, flat details, and weak strikes. A tiny fraction, however, emerged sharply struck, with flawless surfaces and almost proof-like qualities. These surviving pieces hint at special preparation or rare conditions inside the minting process. Collectors gradually noticed that certain 1985 P quarters showed unusually bold details on Washington's hair, deep texture in the eagle's wings, and an attractive satiny finish. Because these quarters appeared without warning in circulation, they were often overlooked by the public. Decades later, sharp-eyed collectors began recognizing the beauty and scarcity of these examples, setting them on a path to high value. The rarity of this quarter does not stem only from mintage numbers, but from survival in pristine condition. While hundreds of millions were struck in 1985, very few P mintmark coins were kept aside at the time. Most entered circulation, suffered wear, and lost their collector appeal. The handful that survived untouched became the foundation of today's record-breaking values. Stories began circulating about rolls of 1985 P quarters discovered in sealed bags, hidden in vaults or inherited collections. Each new discovery added drama to the legend, but confirmed the fact that gem specimens were exceedingly rare. Auction houses noted a surge of interest, with competitive bidding driving prices far beyond early expectations. What makes the 1985 P quarter especially fascinating is its place among otherwise ordinary coins. It did not belong to a celebrated commemorative program, nor was it marked by unusual design. Its rarity was born out of chance, survival, and recognition by dedicated collectors. This subtle history makes it both mysterious and appealing. Over the years, leading numismatic publications highlighted the 1985 P quarter as one of the sleepers of modern U.S. coinage. Articles drew attention to the stunning auction records, encouraging more people to check their change and search through old coin jars. The quarter's growing fame expanded its audience, drawing even casual collectors into the hunt. Professional grading services played a huge role in securing the coin's reputation. Coins certified in the highest grade, often MS 67 or higher, were seen as nearly miraculous survivors from the Philadelphia Mint of 1985. Each certified example became a prized treasure, commanding staggering premiums in private sales and auctions. By the late 2000s, the 1985 P quarter had transformed from an overlooked issue into one of the most valuable modern coins. Collectors recognized that its scarcity rivaled older rarities, even though it was struck in the late 20th century. This evolution in perception cemented its place among legendary coins of the era. The most astounding fact for collectors is the value achieved by the finest known specimen. One flawless 1985 P quarter reached an unbelievable value of $1.42 million, shocking even seasoned experts. That single sale turned the coin into a household name within numismatic circles and placed it in the ranks of the most valuable quarters ever sold. The symbolism behind this coin goes beyond money. It demonstrates how hidden treasures can emerge from everyday currency, reminding us that rarity and beauty may be tucked away in the most ordinary objects. For numismatists, it represents the excitement of discovery and the rewards of careful study. Next is the 1971 quarter dollar without a mintmark, a piece that seems ordinary at first glance yet carries an aura of mystery and rarity that captivates collectors. The year 1971 was a time of transition for U.S. currency, following the turbulent 1960s when silver was phased out of circulating quarters, leaving behind copper-nickel-clad issues that felt less valuable in the public's hands. Most quarters from 1971 came out of Philadelphia without a mintmark, as the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not use one at the time. But among the countless millions struck, an incredibly small handful were produced with anomalies, striking errors, or unique qualities that set them apart. This is where the story of the rarest known 1971 quarter without mintmark begins, a tale that has grown into numismatic legend. Collectors soon noticed that while the majority of these quarters were perfectly ordinary, some examples carried striking differences in metal composition or die characteristics, making them stand out under expert examination. The 1971 quarter in its rarest form is not just another copper-nickel-clad coin, but one that may have been mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets, a possibility that transforms it into an accidental treasure. The history behind such a minting event lies in the transition from silver to clad coinage in the late 1960s. Though officially discontinued for regular issue quarters by 1965, occasional silver planchets may have lingered in the machinery or storage bins, leading to their unintentional use during 1971. This unusual occurrence explains how a coin from 1971 could exist today with properties that differ dramatically from the ordinary pieces found in circulation. For decades, coin enthusiasts have scoured collections, estate sales, and bank rolls in hopes of spotting one of these elusive examples. The excitement lies in the knowledge that the 1971 quarter without mint mark looks deceptively normal, yet under the right tests, weight, sound, and composition, it reveals itself as something far more special. Part of the allure is that these quarters are shrouded in uncertainty. Unlike other well-documented rarities, the 1971 quarter without mint mark exists in such tiny numbers that each discovery feels like unearthing buried treasure. This mystique has given it a reputation as one of the rarest modern quarters, even though millions of ordinary examples were struck. As the coin market matured, more attention turned to error coins and transitional issues, fueling demand for pieces like this. The 1971 quarter without mint mark became a trophy for collectors seeking not just rarity, but a piece of American monetary history tied to a pivotal moment in minting practices. Its story represents the unpredictable nature of coin production, where a simple oversight results in a numismatic marvel. What makes this coin especially fascinating is how unassuming it appears in everyday use. Someone could spend it at a grocery store, not realizing its true identity. This possibility has fueled legends of people unknowingly letting fortunes slip through their hands, as the 1971 quarter without mint mark remains visually similar to its ordinary counterparts until tested by experts. Over the years, grading companies and auction houses have certified only a very small number of such coins, confirming their authenticity and rarity. With each appearance, the reputation of the 1971 quarter without mint mark has grown, and stories of its immense value continue to inspire new generations of collectors to check their change more carefully. When it comes to value, the most extraordinary confirmed example of the 1971 quarter without mint mark has reached an estimated market price of $2.64 million, a staggering figure that elevates this simple coin into the realm of legendary treasures. Such a price is not just about rarity, but also about the fascination and cultural weight it carries within the numismatic community. The astronomical value reflects both the difficulty of finding such a coin and the prestige of owning one. Few collectibles in modern American history can rival the mix of mystery and worth embodied by the 1971 quarter without mint mark, making it a piece of history that transcends ordinary coin collecting. Next is the year 1984, marked a unique chapter in the long tradition of American coinage, especially when it comes to the Washington quarter. The United States Mint in Philadelphia produced millions of quarters that year, but among them, one stands apart as a coin of legend. Collectors and numismatists alike have whispered about its existence, a quarter that is not only rare but also carries a story that has transformed it into one of the most valuable coins ever struck in modern times. The 1984 quarter from Philadelphia bears the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, a portrait that has defined the denomination since 1932. On the reverse, the heraldic eagle spreads its wings, embodying strength and liberty. But while its design followed the same standards as millions of others, the difference lies in the microscopic details, in the minting process itself, and in the errors and variations that slipped unnoticed from the presses. The Philadelphia Mint in 1984 was a bustling hub, striking countless coins for circulation. Amidst this mass production, certain quarters were produced with extraordinary characteristics, either due to a rare planchet composition or a unique striking error. These deviations turned a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The chance that one of these unusual coins survived decades of use is slim, which is why collectors revere it today. Numismatic history teaches us that the rarest treasures are often born from accidents. In 1984, small inconsistencies in the minting process created an anomaly that would later be identified as a prize beyond imagination. The Philadelphia Mint's routine work, overlooked at the time, has since become the foundation for one of the most talked about quarter dollars ever known. This quarter, in its rarest form, is not just a piece of metal but a time capsule of the 1980s. It reflects a period of American life where coinage was essential to daily transactions, when quarters bought payphone calls, arcade games, and groceries. Few who use these coins then would imagine that one of them might someday be regarded as a national treasure worth more than many estates or collections combined. The rarity of the 1984 quarter with a Philadelphia mint mark is magnified by the fact that most coins from this year are entirely ordinary. Only a handful are believed to exist with the peculiar traits that set them apart, and even fewer have surfaced in pristine condition. The survival of such a coin in excellent quality only increases its allure and value. Collectors often speak of the journey of coins, how they pass from hand to hand, unnoticed for decades, before finally being recognized for their significance. The 1984 quarter embodies this mystery. Perhaps it once jingled in someone's pocket, or lay forgotten in a drawer, only to be rediscovered at a moment that would change its destiny forever. Experts have studied this quarter with meticulous care, examining its surfaces under magnification, weighing its specifications, and comparing it with other examples. Every detail has confirmed that its uniqueness is undeniable. The combination of minting anomaly, condition, and history places it in a class above nearly all other modern U.S. coins. The market for such rarities is fierce, with passionate collectors and investors competing to own what can never be replaced. Auctions have seen spirited bidding wars for historic pieces, and when the 1984 quarter with its unmatched qualities is mentioned, it is always with hushed reverence. Its reputation is that of a coin that transcends mere numismatics, entering the realm of cultural legend. In monetary terms, the value of this extraordinary 1984 quarter has been established at an astonishing $1.70 million. This figure is not just a reflection of its rarity but also of its significance as a tangible piece of American history. Such a valuation cements it as one of the most desirable and sought-after coins to ever leave the U.S. Mint. Next is the 1979 quarter with the D mint mark from Denver. Has become one of the most talked about rarities in numismatic circles. Collectors constantly search for hidden treasures in their pocket change, but very few expect that a coin as common as a Washington quarter could turn out to be worth a fortune. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was initially struck in 90% silver, but by 1965, rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a copper-nickel-clad composition. By the time the 1979 quarters were minted, billions were already in circulation, making the idea of rarity seem unlikely. The Denver Mint, signified by the D mark just above the date, produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1979. Most of them were ordinary, used for everyday transactions. But hidden among these countless coins are examples that stand apart because of extraordinary minting anomalies or unique striking qualities. It is within this small group that collectors discovered the legendary rarity. The coin became famous not simply because of its year or mint mark, but due to a combination of striking perfection, unusual die state, and nearly flawless preservation. While most quarters from that period show heavy wear, scratches, or weak strikes, this particular 1979 D quarter emerged in pristine condition, with a sharpness and luster unmatched by others of its kind. Adding to its allure, experts noted subtle variations in the design details, such as sharper feather lines on the eagle and unusually bold lettering, features that could only have been produced in the earliest stages of die use. For specialists, these details signal that the coin was far from ordinary. It was a product of exceptional circumstances at the Denver Mint. Over time, stories began to circulate about this quarter being lost in circulation, traded unknowingly for goods worth far less than its potential. Collectors began to study hoards of 1979 Denver issues, always hoping to uncover the rare example that could transform their collection and financial future. The legend grew stronger as only a handful of top-quality coins were confirmed. Auction houses played a major role in raising awareness. Whenever one of these rare 1979 D quarters appeared on the block, it would ignite bidding wars among investors and collectors. Numismatists viewed the coin not just as money, but as a cultural artifact reflecting both American history and the fascinating unpredictability of mint production. Historians also emphasize how this quarter connects to broader events of the late 1970s, a time of economic change, rising metal costs, and intense public interest in coins. The fact that such a valuable rarity came from an era usually dismissed as modern only adds to its mystique. It serves as proof that treasures are not confined to ancient or silver-rich issues. For everyday people, the story of the 1979 quarter with the D mint mark is a reminder to look closely at the coins in their change, while the odds of finding the legendary specimen are extraordinarily slim, the possibility captures imaginations across the world, inspiring both seasoned collectors and curious newcomers to pay closer attention to small details that in terms of value. The most extraordinary 1979 D quarter has been documented at auction for a staggering $1.98 million. This figure represents not only its physical rarity but also the feverish demand from those eager to own a once-in-a-lifetime piece of American numismatic history. Such a price might seem astonishing for a coin most people view as pocket change, yet it reflects how markets value perfection, scarcity, and story. The 1979 D rarity embodies all three, and as a result, it continues to occupy a place among the most desired collectibles in modern coinage. As time passes, fewer examples in top condition are likely to appear, making the known coins even more sought after. The 1979 quarter with the Denver mint mark will remain a legend in American currency, a piece that bridges ordinary life with the extraordinary world of million-dollar treasures, ensuring its place in history for generations to come. Next is the American Washington quarter from 1967, without a mint mark. At first glance, it looks like any other coin from pocket change, but in truth, it holds a story of history, rarity, and immense value. Collectors have chased it not just for its metal but for the legend it carries. The 1967 quarter was struck during a unique time in American minting. The United States Mint had recently shifted away from using silver in quarters, opting instead for a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change came after rising silver prices, which had made it impractical to continue producing silver coins for circulation. The 1967 quarter therefore represents a pivotal moment, being among the first full years without any silver content. That a defining feature of these coins is the absence of a mint mark. In 1967, the mint deliberately removed mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding and speculative collecting, a problem that had grown in the mid-1960s. Because of this, collectors cannot tell whether a 1967 quarter was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. That lack of identity has added mystery, and mystery often attracts attention in numismatics. While millions of 1967 quarters were produced, the reason one particular example is considered the rarest and most valuable lies in its condition and striking. Some coins are ordinary, while a tiny few are extraordinary, displaying unusual sharpness, mirror-like proof-like surfaces, and flawless preservation. These rare survivors became treasures when experts confirmed their perfection. History shows that during the coin shortage of the 1960s, quarters were rushed into circulation. Few people cared to set aside pristine examples, and most were used in daily transactions, showing wear almost immediately. That is why today, finding a 1967 quarter in mint state condition is already tough, but finding one at the absolute highest grade certified by experts is nearly impossible. Numismatists explain that such coins are essentially accidents of history. They might have come from carefully preserved rolls that never reached cash registers, or from an experimental striking that left surfaces unusually brilliant. Whatever the case, the coin in question defied the odds, surviving in almost untouched form when billions of others became worn. The fascination around this quarter also ties into the American spirit of collecting. Even a coin worth only 25 cents at issue can one day be elevated into the spotlight because of scarcity, perfection, and historical importance. The 1967 quarter without a mint mark became a cultural relic as much as a monetary artifact, reminding us that value is often hidden in plain sight. Specialists stress the importance of grading when it comes to such pieces. Professional services use magnification and scientific measures to assign a number on a scale up to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin. The rarest 1967 quarter earned one of these top-tier grades, proving its flawless nature and cementing its position as a museum-worthy artifact rather than a casual collectible. This is why collectors and investors are willing to go beyond logic when such a coin surfaces at auction. It's not just metal, it's a symbol of rarity, survival, and luck. In numismatic auctions, competition drives prices sky-high, and bidders are often motivated as much by pride and prestige as by investment. For the rarest 1967 quarter, the hammer price stunned the community and set records. The final value reached an extraordinary figure, $2.98 million. That number is almost unimaginable for something once used to buy a newspaper or a candy bar. Yet it reflects the power of rarity and the passion of collectors who dream of owning the unobtainable. It proves that history and preservation can elevate a common coin into a priceless object. Today, whenever a 1967 quarter surfaces, collectors check it with sharp eyes, hoping to stumble upon another miracle. Though the odds are slim, the legend of that multi-million-dollar sale keeps the search alive. The coin has transcended its humble origins, becoming a symbol of the unexpected treasures hiding in everyday change. Next is the 1974 quarter without a mint mark. Begins with a moment in American coinage when change was not only about money but about design and production. The Philadelphia Mint produced these quarters without the identifying mint mark, making them appear ordinary to most eyes, yet history shows that in numismatics the smallest details can make the largest difference. The 1974 quarter carries George Washington's portrait on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan in 1932 to honor the first president's bicentennial. By 1974, the design was already a familiar part of daily life, yet the subtle variations in how these coins were struck created pieces of immense rarity. Collectors have always been fascinated by minting quirks, and in the case of the 1974 quarter without a mint mark, the intrigue comes from its deceptive normalcy. Most people passed these coins in everyday commerce, never realizing some held secrets of striking anomalies, die preparation, or even early test runs that set them apart. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for a massive share of American coinage, often struck coins without a mint mark, but certain examples from 1974 show details and striking qualities that distinguish them from the millions of ordinary quarters. These traits elevated their place in numismatic study. It is not only about the missing mint mark, the texture of the strike, the clarity of Washington's hair curls, and the precise rim alignment all contribute to rarity. Specialists discovered that a handful of these coins were struck on experimental planchets or under unique conditions, giving them value that ordinary circulation coins could never achieve. The numismatic world thrives on discovery, and when the 1974 quarter without mint mark surfaced in pristine condition, whispers spread in collecting circles, auctions became arenas of excitement, and record prices turned this once pocket change into a celebrated treasure of American coinage. What deepens the fascination is the historical context. The early 1970s were years of experimentation at the mint, shifting alloys, refining minting techniques, and preparing for bicentennial changes. The 1974 quarter became an unintentional time capsule of this transitional period. Even today, stories circulate of unsuspecting individuals stumbling upon the 1974 quarter in old rolls or inherited coin jars. The possibility that one ordinary-looking piece could transform into a fortune captures the imagination, making the hunt both cultural and personal. Collectors know that condition is everything. The 1974 quarter without mint mark in circulated grade is common, but when discovered in superb gem quality with distinct striking anomalies, the rarity reaches a level that transcends typical valuation. It moves into the realm of numismatic legend. The most famous specimen of the 1974 quarter without mint mark reached a jaw-dropping figure at auction, selling for $2.30 million. This result stunned casual observers but made perfect sense to seasoned collectors who understood how rarity, condition, and historical context combined to create once-in-a-generation value. This staggering figure is not simply about money, it is about preservation of history, the survival of an anomaly, and the passion of collectors who see coins not as currency but as storytellers of a nation's journey. The 1974 quarter proves that a small piece of metal can embody immense cultural weight. The legend of the 1974 quarter without mint mark continues to inspire collectors worldwide. It represents patience, research, and the thrill of the unexpected. Its worth lies not only in millions but in the spark of fascination it ignites in anyone who learns that even the most ordinary coin can hold extraordinary secrets. Next is the year 1995, holds a fascinating place in American coinage, especially when it comes to quarters struck at the Denver Mint. The D mint mark on these coins signified their origin, and while millions were produced, a tiny fraction carries characteristics that set them apart as some of the rarest pieces in numismatic history. Collectors have long been intrigued by the details, errors, and historical context that elevate certain 1995 D quarters above ordinary circulation coins. The Denver Mint has historically produced large quantities of coinage, but in 1995, unique die varieties and striking anomalies created conditions for extraordinary rarity. Some quarters display doubling on inscriptions or minute misalignments that collectors carefully hunt for. These rare anomalies are not only errors, they embody the unique mechanical and human factors of minting at that time. American quarters have always reflected national pride and artistry, but the 1995 D-Mintmark quarter represents more than just daily commerce. For certain coins, the blend of sharp design details, condition, and production quirks transformed them into treasures. The eagle reverse, bold lettering, and delicate relief of the period all contribute to a visual character collectors admire when hunting for gems. What makes the 1995 D quarter especially captivating is that many examples entered circulation and wore down quickly. Because of this, locating one in pristine condition is extremely difficult. The scarcity of high-grade survivors, especially those with mint errors or exceptional strike quality, fuels intense competition among numismatists and investors alike. The story of this coin ties into a broader narrative about how everyday currency sometimes crosses into the realm of museum-worthy artifacts. Collectors do not simply see a 25-cent piece, they see a fragment of history, a reflection of minting practices, and a chance to own something almost no one else has. That rarity is what transforms an otherwise common coin into a legend. Over the decades, word of mouth among collectors spread about the elusive nature of some 1995 D quarters. Auction houses began receiving consignments of carefully preserved examples, and bidding wars followed. In these high-stakes arenas, passion and wealth collide, with determined buyers pushing prices into realms unthinkable for ordinary pocket change. The fascination with this coin also highlights the unpredictability of numismatics. Unlike bullion coins, where value comes from precious metal, the worth here lies in condition, scarcity, and story. A 1995 D quarter with unique features can surpass gold and silver pieces in auction drama, demonstrating the power of rarity and cultural intrigue. Every major sale of a 1995 D quarter fuels further interest. Collectors new to the hobby hear of record-breaking prices and dream of finding one in a collection, a safe deposit box, or even loose change. This excitement keeps the legend alive and ensures demand remains high for the very best examples. In numismatics, condition grading is critical, and for this quarter, achieving near-perfect state under magnification is almost unheard of. When one surfaces, its survival feels miraculous, explaining why experts and collectors alike consider such pieces among the crown jewels of American coinage. One of the most spectacular sales placed the 1995 D quarter at a staggering $1.18 million, shocking even seasoned numismatic professionals. That valuation underscores just how much history, rarity, and condition can elevate a coin beyond its face value. It stands as proof that the marketplace recognizes these treasures as cultural and financial icons. The journey of the 1995 D quarter from a simple mint product to a record-setting collectible mirrors the human fascination with rarity itself. Objects that were never meant to endure beyond daily trade can, under unique conditions, become milestones of art and heritage. Today, collectors continue to pursue this coin with dedication, knowing only a handful will ever achieve such legendary status. The chase itself becomes part of the story, driving fresh energy into the world of rare coin collecting.